This manipulation has always been based on a bluff. And if you watch The Big Short, you hear how the banks they actively encourage you to feel stupid for asking and encourage you not to look. But when people look, the clues are there. Sometimes it's just so unbelievable that this could actually be happening.
The land of Arcadia.
Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics with a quick video on a Sunday afternoon about whether the banks may have gone all in with a bluff. Go figure that one. Although in terms of, I know in Silverland, we get this tendency to think, well, things that haven't changed never will. Although, talk about wild, because here we have yesterday a video. It was a little bizarre. I was stunned to hear Jeff Curry of Goldman Sachs being an authorized participant of the SLV Trust. And it seemed a little strange when he would admit that.
The shorts are the ETFs. The ETFs buy the physical, they turn around and they sell on the COMEX.
Which is certainly unusual, but I mean, just when you thought it couldn't get wilder than seeing Goldman Sachs admit silver manipulation on CNBC, no less, well, we must be at the apocalypse of something, maybe the monetary system, because look at this big bluff in silver weekly wrap up. Wow, I made it onto Zero Hedge. Quite honored to be there. And certainly as was part of the Sprott Money News interview I did on Friday, which several of you have heard already. I remember being back on New York Stock Exchange, running my equity options post, reading Sprott articles in even 2009, because it was the only thing I could find back then where anybody else seemed to have a same grasp of the planet that I was on, and certainly was quite an honor to be invited to be the guest on this Friday's Sprott Money News interview with Craig Hemke. And we talked about some of the things, including, well, here, I'll just read the quote from Chris Marcus. And I said, I think the best part is that personally, this is the most encouraged I've been in the 12 years I've been following this. It's always been based on, this manipulation has always been based on a bluff. And if you watch The Big Short, you hear how the banks, they actively encourage you to feel stupid for asking and encourage you not to look. But when people look, the clues are there. Sometimes it's just so unbelievable that this could actually be happening. Things sure seem to be happening at an accelerating rate now. In fact, it reminds me a lot of back in the summer of 2007, my first year trading options. That was back on the American Stock Exchange, when even by the summer of 2007, for the people who were looking closely, there was a lot happening even a year before Lehman Brothers. So I would assert that we got a warning about the silver squeeze. I did my best in this interview to point out why I think we're getting closer. And certainly I know you guys have heard that stuff before. Yeah, silver's going to do this and that, and physical is better than putting it in some of these trusts where, you know, and most likely it is unconnected that after about 10% of the annual supply of silver went into the SLV Trust over 3 days, there was panic buying reported around the globe in the physical market. And then silver went up 10% and then down 10% on the day SLV added 61 million more shares. And then ironically, a day after that, as Ronan, the destroyer Manley, the bank destroyer, reported that SLV prospectus on February 3rd mentioned it's possible that the authorized participants may be unable to acquire sufficient silver that is acceptable. If unable to acquire sufficient acceptable for delivery, then the trust may suspend or restrict issuance of baskets. An interesting prospectus change. Seemed a little unusual, but most likely a coincidence that the prospectus was changed the next day. So anyway, go check out this Sprott interview. I think you'll enjoy it. And lastly, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone who's been watching, especially the people who go back when my first couple videos were getting 20 or 30 views on a good day. But it's really been an honor to be a part of what's going on and to see that with all the things that the banks do or politicians and things do, that certainly is not what I would advocate. It's really inspiring to see people stand up and beat them at their own game in a legal, honest, moral, and ethical fashion. So with that said, click on the link to listen to the Sprott interview now.